and so I'm now 45. I don't know how that happened.
But she's lived in Pleasant View for 50 years. We have to point that out. She's lived in Pleasant View longer than she's been alive.
So you lived part of your pre-existence in Pleasant View.
Pardon me?
You lived part of your pre-existence in Pleasant View.
Yeah,
I think it's September 3rd.
it might be, or September
Today's the
4th.
3rd.
That's point number one.
Okay,
Point number
continue.
two.
What's going, maybe you just want to know a little, something about my kids. That's-
You have any?
Mostly
I
about
don't
you.
have very many kids,
Okay.
but it turns out that I have more kids anyway than anybody I know.
So it's kind of like being 45 and I've been there for 50 years.
You did all that in 45 years.
I don't know how to break this to you, but they're not kids anymore.
They never were baby
Peter
goats.
Patter's little feet upstairs are not little feet.
Can we raise our hand if we want to say something?
No.
You kidding?
I have my hand up. Can you call on me?
No.
Okay, so Becky,
Do you have any children older than 45?
Yes.
I've got children almost 60.
I know, right?
Becky is, how old is she?
She's my age.
How old are you?
73.
73.
Oh, she's not your age.
Huh?
You're not.
He's not 73,
Kenny would be
Jay
more-
is 73.
He's 67.
Becky is not quite as old as you, I think. What year were you born? I
how old
remember
he is,
you
'cause
when
he
you were a
thinks he's how
baby.
old you are.
Well, so
I
does
used to change
Terry.
your diapers.
You didn't want to hear that, did you? TMI.
Yes, for sure. I
TMI.
packed him around all summer that summer.
I packed my diapers and you packed me.
That's just fine.
Well
I had
said,
my
Jay.
first kiss in Toppenish that summer.
Okay, we were hearing about your family.
His name was Freddie, but I don't know where he came from and I don't know where he went, but it was under the grapevines. In Toppenish.
Wait a minute, you don't have any kids named Freddie?
Have you considered
That's right there,
stand-up
Terry.
comedy? Or even sit-down
Well,
comedy?
you know, you guys are.
I was
Buzzing
born in 1955.
Okay, well, you're a year older than Becky,
She was 56.
6. So what does that make her? I still don't know how old
She's
she is.
66.
Oh, you guys are really quick to say. Oh, dear.
She's 66. You have a daughter that's 66.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
She is still working at the school and they don't have enough help. They can't get any help and it's too hot in the schools and they're gonna shut the schools down for half a day.
Oh, because
Yeah,
of these
Because of the
changes.
heat.
Because they're not supposed to start school until after Labor Day, like the only thing California does right. is
They
start
should wait to
school
start school till after the first frost.
Well, if we're worried about hot air, maybe we all shouldn't be talking
It's
so
gonna
much.
take forever for everybody to talk. Okay, so Becky, so who's my next kid?
Oh, wait. Are we going through all your kids?
No.
Just go by
Jamie,
fours.
we are in touch with Jamie for this first time in his whole life
Probably
since he
30
left home.
years, right, since Bryce and I were married, we've been married a few years when he left.
Is that
Bryce
right?
and, yeah, and we've been married 36 years.
Well, he left and
So it's been over 30
we
years.
didn't know where he was most of the time and what was going on and yeah, I won't go into details what I did know, but he lives in Toledo, Ohio. He's still not well from that stabbing. He has cancer, but he sent a message to me recently saying he's now cancer free.
Cool.
So okay, that's Jamie. Maybe we'll see him one of these days. I don't know. So then, of course, we did have Patrick.
Who's cancer free?
Jamie.
Their adopted boy.
Patrick was born in 1958 in Othello, Washington, and he lived about 2 hours. It's similar to Nancy's story also. Only difference is Nancy knows where her baby is buried, and I found out where my baby is buried quite a few years ago when I was with Nancy, and she and I crossed over the river, and we found him. I knew he was there. It took some doing to find where he was buried, but it was a miracle also.
What river?
The Columbia River. Yeah, the Columbia River.
In Washington?
Between Compton, Oregon and Washington.
Huh. I didn't know that story.
There's a lot about me you don't know, Jay.
I just know that you packed me around.
Well, anyway, Nancy and I went, and we had to go from different offices and tell them the story about I have a baby buried at some cemetery here in 1958, and I want to find it. Find him. Nobody knew. And then we went into a funeral home, and I told the woman my story, and she said, "We don't know anything about that." And then she went to the back of the office there. Get your hankies out. There was a counter across the room with some books and things on it. And I went over there, and there it was, right there. His name, our names, and where he was buried.
Wow.
Right
They
there.
had it on display?
Well, no, I don't know why the book was
There
open.
was divine intervention. That's why.
I don't know why that book was open. Well, it was open for me. It was there for me. So we
Wow.
they contacted the man who was running that poor cemetery, which is a pioneer cemetery and mostly dirt and weeds. It's really sad.
What city were you in by now?
What?
What city did you find that in?
Well, he was born in Othello, Washington, near Moses Lake, Royal Slope and Royal City. They're just farming communities that came up after the Grand Coulee Dam was finished and water came to all this area. So we met this man. We drove to the cemetery, and the name of the cemetery was Pleasant View.
What?
Wow. It was. And I got out of the car and I walked straight to his grave. And I said, "He's here." And he was there. He was there then. He was there. So this guy said he would put some kind of a marker there so I could come back. And I wanted for years to bring him to Pleasant View and bury him with Ken. But so we left.
So this
him.
was after Ken passed away.
No, he wasn't buried yet.
Oh, okay.
But then when Nita's husband Pete, we went to his funeral. So Ken and I came back and we went there to the cemetery. And here's what's really crazy: Patrick did not come that day. I couldn't find that spot. I stood on it, but it didn't work. And I couldn't say to Ken, "He's right here." I said, "I think he is," but I wanted to put flowers. Anyway, so I got off the beaten path here. I usually do. I hardly ever stay on one path.
It's a little confused because it was this year.
John lives with me and John and Vicki in my little place. Some of you have been there, you know how little it is. And I had Gene when I moved into that place, so he had that bedroom. I wouldn't let him be in my bedroom. He had that bedroom and bathroom, closet, and so I never could use it. And then he died, and I was just getting around to using that closet. And John and Vicki asked if they could come and live with me and build a house while they built their house. Which the way things have been, you can't build a house. It's been a struggle. It's been a year and a half, but I've loved having them. They have a dog, Bella, and if they just would put her in, have her groomed, I'd love her more. But
So did they finish their house?
it's not done yet.
It's a beautiful home though.
Well, it's a nice house, and he has just finished all the floors, and he's dying. His knees, his body. He's how old is John? He's too old to
He's
do
your
this.
boy.
John's 57, or will be in October,
How do you know?
because he's 3 years younger than I am, and I just
Well,
turned
hey,
60.
Yeah, we're about about his age.
Okay,
Because
well,
Rachel's my age.
I
so-
know that.
Yeah, so he's just younger than Rachel.
You
Yeah.
see?
I don't know, I thought so. That's what they always told me. John was right there.
Well, he's been working really hard. He did the floors. And this kind of wood that everybody likes nowadays instead of hardwood and tile and stuff. It's nearly killed him, but he's done with it. But people aren't doing anything on the house for all this week. Nobody came to put stone or, finish it. But I think maybe they'll be in it in maybe a month from now. I probably already skipped Rachel. Y'all know where she lives in Sandy.
She just got over not having cancer too. She did have a cancer scare.
Who?
Rachel had a cancer scare.
Oh, I know, she did have a cancer scare, but she's okay. So that's good. Let's
After
see.
John is Mark.
Mark has just lost about 40 pounds.
Oh, good for him.
Because the doctor told him he was more borderline diabetic, and he better lose that weight, and so he really has done well. And they live in Syracuse, in a very nice home.
I saw him he works at the hospital, right?
Well, sometimes, it's not all the time. I
My
don't
dad
know.
was in the hospital and he was there. He came and give me a big hug. Oh, good. Right, I just ran into him in the hall outside my dad's.
Which hospital?
McKady.
Arden. Yeah.
What are we doing there? Well, he's a therapist, if, so he might be called to, talk to people that are losing a loved one or something. Or to Montpelier, Idaho, when their last one graduates from high school,
Right.
that's what they're talking about. That's cold up there, it's in the
Yes,
mountains.
it is.
They're gonna take their horses up there. He's lending or whatever you do. Some farmer is eating. His cows are eating off of Jared's grass. But the cow broke out recently and broke a lock or something. But I don't think it damaged any buildings or anything. So Jared's got a great life, I guess. And Sarah, oh my gosh, Sarah, you guys see stuff on Facebook. Sarah never stops. She is so busy. I never see her. She just lives a block from me. And of course she's got Tucker dancing, and he has to come down to BYU to practice dancing or learn or whatever it is twice a week.
Wow.
And I have taken him to get his ride in Layton to go down there. Oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to drive in Layton anymore. Oh dear. When I let him off the last time, I said, well, Tucker, I know you're not ever going to want to ride with me here again. And I don't ever want to do it again.
You've just gotten so much more honest.
That's what Commander
Wait.
accuses me of.
You skipped Mary Beth.
Oh, Mary Beth, yeah, she's adopted those two girls, taken them out of the inner city of Ogden in the mess that they were in.
And that's been how many years ago now that they had, like,
well,
10?
Leah should have graduated from high school this year, but she quit going to school during COVID, and so she didn't graduate. Kendall graduated, but Leah drives. Somebody gave her a car. The neighbors gave her a car, and she's got a good job now. And then so she was about 6 when they got these kids, and her sister Emery started junior high school this year, and she wasn't walking. She was a baby when they got her. Mandy just took, Amanda just went with her husband.
You can sit down. You don't have to keep.
Oh, they said somebody said I had to stand
It was
up.
me that said that. I'm saying you can sit down.
Okay. Oh,
Be careful what you say, Chad.
There.
Guys.
Amanda.
Amanda just went to, where did Juan come from? El Salvador. They just took their 3 kids, and went to El Salvador for a couple of weeks
Wow.
To see his mother.
to see his family, mother and aunts, and his dad lives with them in their basement. So he went to El Salvador to get a divorce from Juan's mother. So that's what that was about. But I guess it worked out. They signed papers and it's all done. It's a good thing because he has a girlfriend here.
Good thing I got this recorded.
Gonna be able to blackmail you at some point.
I think we should get our TV program.
Hey, I've already been on a TV program, remember? Who was it?
I was on
Anybody
there
here?
with you. How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail.
People called in because we were memorizing magazines.
Well, what happened was you and Camellia, and I was the dog.
You had the wolf.
And I was the one who was supposed to bark. It seems like it was Dad who was part of this TV show somehow.
He caused
This
it.
is really interesting for me to hear other people's views about what happened.
I was like 5 years old, so
Yeah, that's right.
you can't trust my memory at all. But I do have recollections
wait,
of
how
somebody
old are you
sticking me
now?
with a pin.
How old are you now?
6.
You
Much
think I
more
can trust
mature.
you think I can trust your memory better now?
No way. Not a chance.
Okay. Well, I have recollections of that too, but I
I will hear yours.
Huh?
Were you part of that?
I listened to him. Was I a part of that?
Were you part of that?
You didn't know?
No.
No, my job every week was to memorize a magazine or a mileage chart for the airlines or whatever, and then Dad would ask
People
me.
would call in.
He would, if people
ask
call in,
us.
they say, what's on page 67 of whatever magazine? And of course, then I would tell them what it was. Or how many miles is it from Dallas to New York on the airline charts? And so I would tell how many miles.
He
But
did that with me
nobody
too.
remembers that apparently.
How many of you did that with Dad?
I
Where you
did.
where you
You really
memorized
did, and
you
I did.
memorized magazines?
Yeah.
I did for a primary program, I memorized the friend.
I
Dad
did
always
that.
made me- Dad
I
always
did
made
that
me
too,
memorize
several
my
times.
Oh yeah, we always had to memorize
Yeah,
talks.
he used to make, but I was too rebellious to get involved.
In my case, Dad came to me and said, "Son, you seem like a particularly spiritual and religious person. So
That sounds like what Dad would say.
I'm going to have you memorize what's on every page of the Book of Mormon," which I did.
Yeah. No, what he
True.
did to me when I came to visit you guys in Pleasanton, he had me memorize the names and addresses and phone numbers of all the kids in seminary. The night before, I went to that seminary class with him. And those kids got up one at a time and told me their name, and then I would tell them their telephone number and their address.
I bet you can't do it anymore.
No, you can't do that anymore.
Do you guys have any idea what Dad was advertising?
We have to get that.
What was Dad advertising?
But
Huh?
Sarah runs the city of
Oh, wait a
Pleasant View. If
Can
you,
I have the floor for a second?
no, you can't because I gotta go.
What was Dad advertising?
Oh, rich food plans.
No, on the TV, when we were on TV.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Nobody knows what he was advertising.
No.
He was advertising Beneficial Life.
Really?
Yes. And you know what Carolyn here, her first husband did?
He sold Beneficial Life.
He was an executive
An
in
executive?
Beneficial Life.
Oh, honey.
Oh, it's
they're
such a small
chuckling together
world.
right now.
It really is. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I gotta go.
Well, quick to mass.
I can't see in the dusk.
Oh yeah, did Matt become a bishop?
And Matt, well, and Sarah runs the city of Pleasant View. You just have to know that. And my gosh, whoever thought? And tomorrow Matthew is going to be ordained. My baby boy that I had in Belgium.
Who's Berkeley's age? My Berkeley.
Yeah, he's the same
I don't
age
know how
as
old he
hers.
is,
will be
gonna
ordained
be
tomorrow because of the
close to 40.
one of the counselors he chose had COVID and couldn't be.
So you have to go because it's getting dark?
Yeah. Before I get home,
Yeah.
I can't
Okay,
have
well,
it.
Marcielle, it's been wonderful having you here.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
Yay!
Well, I'm glad I did make it. I was really late, but this has been great.
You made it before us.
And I'm so glad my legs work now.
Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Give us an update on your family and what's going on in your world.
That was the parameters.
Are these yours?
Yes, that's me.
Just 2 of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we know why they belong. Now we know where they go.
And of course, the aluminum pan is ours. But busy this year making doctors rich.
Yeah.
Nice of you.
You look like you're doing okay right now. You don't look like you're in pain right now.
As a matter of fact, Jaye, Arden, whoever you are, this is the problem of having left home before I know all their names.
It's a problem living with 6 girls too. I do the same thing.
Are you in pain right now?
No, I'm not in pain.
Oh, okay.
But if I don't take my pain medicine on time, then I've learned that I should have.
Okay.
That's all. But that's, we have made great progress in eliminating pain in my body. And part of it was that I bought this lazy boy chair for my daughter, who bought it for her husband. And they bought it because they couldn't sleep in beds comfortably.
Okay.
And so I went over and spent the night one night. You weren't there, were you? You didn't go over there. Of course, she doesn't go anywhere to spend the night with me anymore. But
It's not the movie.
anyway,
Good reaction.
I was invited over to Kay's house. Are you guys gonna talk?
I'm listening.
We're
Hanging on every
We've
word.
always got somebody talking.
I like my little
Okay.
sister.
I guess I don't.
Just talk
I'm
to
not
me,
used to
Carrie.
it. I'm
Just
not
talk
used to it
me.
anymore. I'm just not used to what people doing that. Okay. Anyway, I went over to Kay's house. I was invited by Jenny, and the reason for me going over there was that I would see if that lazy boy would work for me and help me with my pain. So I went over there, and I was kind of out of my element. Upstairs, I have all of my stuff arranged, everything worked out, so that I can get around and take care of myself and everything. And I got over there, and there wasn't anything to aid me. And so I had to go to the bathroom every 2 hours all night long. And they didn't have a convenient way for me to go to the bathroom. Now that's not normal
This
for
is
me.
the story of how you lost
This
your
is
pain.
the story
Okay.
of, no, I didn't lose my pain that way, I lost my patience. But anyway, the point, that's grandfather Compton's place in
Ogden.
Arden. But anyway, notwithstanding the many ups and downs, and Jenny having to help me and not having all the services that I needed, I did figure out that that was a good lazy boy. And so I bought it from him, and the lazy boy has been more help to my pain than anything I've done hardly since.
Is that right?
Now, there's a few other things I'm working on, but getting rid of pain is one of the big deals in my life. Now, we haven't, I've gotten kind of busy here because I do have a social life now, don't I, Carolyn?
Yay. Thanks for That's nice.
I have a social life. We do watch lots of movies. Not exactly what I would spend all my time doing if I were the only one, but still. You know, I like to watch things that are educational, but some of the people around here like to watch other things. And no, I'm talking about they recruit me to put on movies, up on the movie floor all the time. Because not very many of them, well, they're smart enough, but they don't want to apply themselves to learn how to run the video and stuff. But anyway, I have a pretty good social life around here. So I keep much busier than I will be.
Behind you. Could
Huh?
you introduce her?
I'm sorry. Oh, Jenny. Come on in, Jenny. I didn't know you were here.
I'm fine.
Come on in, Jenny.
Hi, I know, Larita was just saying the same thing, and so was Annette.
I've seen you.
I know, I just saw you last Sunday.
And Jenny is my savior every time I have a problem. Between Jenny and
Yay,
Carolyn,
Jenny.
Between Jenny and Carolyn, they take good care of me.
All right.
There's no 82-year-old man that could be better taken care of than I
You
am.
know when anything's gonna
For the help of my daughter and my good friend Carolyn.
Well, we'll stop worrying about you.
That's a good idea, Jenny. If you were worrying about me, you were wasting your time. Anyway,
Lost a lot of sleep over that, Jay.
as you may know, Jenny could tell you about this, but you know, Kay had a stroke this year, and it's been pretty significantly affected her life.
And she lives where is she living now, Lynn?
They live in Linden,
Linden.
in Utah Valley,
Okay.
and there's my certificate of baptism and confirmation, if anybody cares. Copies.
Wow, you got one of those.
Okay, anyway, Kay had a stroke and it affected her one leg so that she had a difficult time using that leg. So she tried to work after she kind of semi-recovered, but eventually she had to give up working. So she went on short-term disability, but now she's got to switch to long-term disability, and that's a challenge, as some of you may know, to get approval for long-term disability. So right now, they're without her income. But Mike, her husband, does work and provides some income. So that's a real challenge for them. Now Jenny is the real sensation of our family. She makes lots of money, and she gives it to her nieces and nephews, and to her dad, and to everybody in the world who holds out their hands.
She never gives it to her uncles.
She gives it all to her aunts.
She's a very, very successful in her business, and she does a good job.
What do you do?
I'm a project manager.
What
She's
kind of
managing
projects do you
she's
do?
started managing today, or yesterday, she started managing a $10 million project.
Whoa.
What kind of project?
It's a electrical, we provide electrical equipment to construction job sites.
Okay.
So the electrical content of that job is $10 million.
It's just one portion of the job, but yeah.
Yeah.
So she has quite a reputation with her business. She's very, very good at managing. She's everything on her fingertips. I can call her anytime and find out when I've got a doctor's appointment.
Or who his doctor is.
Or who that girl is that keeps holding his hand.
She helps too, but she does not. Carolyn does not do a good job of remembering doctor's appointments. That's Jenny's forte, not Carolyn's.
But Carolyn will jab back, so you know. For all your jabs, she'll jab back.
Carolyn is by no contest at all. She's the strongest woman in this facility. And that was one of the primary considerations in asking her to be a good friend, was that I needed somebody to help me get out.
That she can drive.
You think that's a joke, but that's the truth.
That's true, though. So she can give you a lift.
I guess you could phrase it that way. So anyway, I visited a oncologist the other day, yesterday, and they rediscovered that I have cancer. But it's not a big deal. I mean, to them it's a big deal, but to me it's not. Because 10 years ago I had what's called a PSA, prostate-specific antigen. It was 1.0 in 2014. That's 8 years ago. And it's climbed all the way from 1.0 to 1.88. Well, people don't die with it with the PSA of less than 10 or 20 or 30,000. So if it only goes that far in 8 years, I mean, but they are going to give me a test to find out where it is. He tried to find it yesterday or the day before. That was what you know. He didn't find it, so he wants to give me a test to find out where it is. It's a possibility that, you know, it could block something, you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble, but it's not gonna kill me. And I suffer more from the effects of the medication for prostate cancer than I do from prostate cancer itself. Between the medicine for prostate cancer and arthritis and everything else, the medicines have hurt me more than the diseases, I think.
But they aren't sure where it's come back yet.
They don't know where it is, but they do know it's there.
Yeah.
But it's not a big deal. You know, I'll die with it rather than from it. So, you know, I've been through, a year ago, I was, had pancreatitis and had my gallbladder removed, and then I had pancreatitis again this year, and then I went in and had a shot done in my back. Well, of course, I do that fairly regularly, but this time, I asked the doctor to give me a particular shot in one place. Actually, they never did give me a shot that killed that much pain until I sat down and told the doctor, I want to tell you exactly where to put that needle. And he did, and it worked.
Because you know.
Well, I know where the pain is, I know where it's hurting.
Well, you're also an engineer and you can know.
Yeah, sure.
You think about these things.
Yeah, sure.
And you went through kidney stones.
I had a kidney stone, actually two of them. Actually, I've had several kidney stones, and so finally one doctor's told me why I get kidney stones. So hopefully we'll figure that out, because they're pretty painful.
Drinking?
Huh?
Is that your drinking?
Well,
Just
actually,
calcium supplements.
it could be drinking, but I was taking.
Dehydrated, was that the
Yeah,
dehydrated thing?
I was taking too much calcium supplements and the wrong kind.
I was gonna say,
For
it
all
sounds like
you
it
who
was.
want to know, take calcium citrate, don't just take straight calcium. And I'm low on vitamin D, they just revealed, so they're figuring out what to do about that. When I get through with all this stuff, hopefully I'm getting stronger, as you can see, feeling better.
You're looking better.
So hopefully I might get to the point where I can actually try to start exercising and walking and doing a few things. But right now, it's too risky for
And
me.
then we'll have a dance in this.
There's a house in Greensboro.
Greensboro.
Old Columbia Pike, 19.
No, that's not Columbia Pike.
Sourwood.
I mean, Sourwood, yeah. Sourwood.
Okay,
Who's
anyway.
that? That's okay, Marcielle.
Anyway, so I'm making a lot of progress and trying to get my health
Norman, I
back.
guess.
And my daughter Jenny's doing great, and my daughter Kay has made amazing recovery from her stroke, but she can't work and she can't do some things. So she's got a lifelong time to struggle with that and loss of income.
But she's very conversant. When I was over there, she didn't have any problem
Oh yeah, she's
carrying on a conversation.
No,
She
her
was
head
fine.
is still on her shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still got the ability to talk. It didn't affect the brain very much at all. What do you think, Jenny?
No, it didn't. No, I don't think so.
She's fine cognitively.
Yeah, cognitively she's fine. She has a little bit of a problem swallowing. So they work with her on that, and she had just minimal damage in her hand. So they gave her some therapy for that, but the biggest problem was the loss of her leg, the use of her leg. And she's regained some through retraining, but there's some of it that she just never will fully regain that full use.
And my son Ben is, of course, as you know, mentally ill. His wife is mentally ill, and the two of them seem to get along reasonably well. They understand that each of them is mentally ill, and so they get along reasonably well. Ben does not work, to the best of my knowledge. He's very intelligent, and he had worked himself up really far in the company for not having any degrees at all. He was competing with people with master's degrees. So, but he had a breakdown mentally, and he had to go on disability because of the breakdown, and he's been on that now for quite a few years. But he and his wife are living in a little apartment in Indiana, and I think they've decided they couldn't afford to live in Tampa Bay. It's just too expensive for them, so I invited them to come and stay with me in Indiana. They stayed for a while, but they decided they wanted their own apartment, so they moved out, got an apartment, and they seem to be reasonably comfortable there, and seem to be doing reasonably well, as best I can tell. So that's the story of my family.
That's your life.
Well, there you go.
I have never seen a picture of that Greensboro chapel, which just popped up a minute ago.
Is Greensboro in
Colfax.
South Carolina
You
or
haven't
North
seen that
Carolina?
picture before?
I've never seen a picture of that Colfax chapel since
Standing in front of it.
with me standing in front of it, the family standing in front of it. I had an interesting experience at that chapel. Somebody told me if I took a holly leaf off one of those holly bushes that were just beside the doors and held it between my finger and my thumb, and I blew on it and made it spin, that it could just spin and spin and spin. And I thought how cool that would be to do that. It was a fast Sunday, so I'd been fasting. So I stood there in front of that door, just blowing and blowing and blowing, and so fascinated by that little leaf spinning between my thumb and my finger. And then I realized, I was a deacon then, and I realized it was time for me to go inside and get on the front bench so I'd be in position to pass the sacrament. And so those doors were big, heavy doors at that Colfax chapel. So I had to really heave-ho to pull the door open, and as I was trying to get into the door, I fainted. And the door came and slammed on me, but I had fainted, so I didn't feel it. And when I came to, all these people were up there looking down at me, and it suddenly dawned on me what had happened, and I jumped up and ran away.
You ran away, did they catch you?
No, I ran into the bathroom and cried.
Well, listen.
I couldn't decide if I cried from embarrassment or if it was from the pain of the door slamming on me.
I'd like to tell you a little bit about Carolyn.
You need to get my permission first.
Yeah, really.
Carolyn was a school teacher, and her husband was a beneficial life executive. And before that, he was he a Marine or Navy? He was in the Navy. So they had a marriage where they weren't able to spend time together for how many years?
First 4 years he was in.
Yeah, I think she married him one day and he was gone the next, something like that.
Holy cow.
Like World War II
For
romances.
9 months cruise, he left right after we got married.
Anyway, they eventually got a divorce because he was unfaithful to her, so she decided not to keep with him. But she took over and supported her and her 5 daughters, took care of them.
4 daughters, 1 son.
Oh, sorry, that's right, David. 4
David.
daughters and 1 son, and saved a lot of money. And that's why I like her, the second reason, because she saved a lot of money. No, really. If we ever get married, we have a pact that neither one of us will leave any money to the other's family.
You got it? Got it in writing?
Yeah, I actually do.
Good.
All your kids are buried?
All our kids are married.
Where did you bury them?
Not any place that you're going to find them. No, we're doing well.
They can't say where they live.
Oh, I'm not telling them. They might go visit them. I'm not sure I want to do
So
that.
Jason's in Missouri, Jennifer's in Ogden, and
Keep going.
Julie's in Meridian, Idaho.
yeah, Julie's in Marene. So Jeff moved somewhere northwest.
Yeah, he did, in
Bellingham,
fact.
Washington.
Where?
Bellingham, Washington.
Bellingham, Washington.
Yes.
She works at the international airport.
So they're all doing well. They make a good living. They've got good kids. Apparently we did something right when we raised them. We haven't figured out what that recipe is quite yet, but it worked. And so we're proud of them.
So are they taking care of you like my daughter takes care of me?
No, they
You
pretty
made
much
a mistake then,
they
Jay.
pretty much ignore us, but when the day comes, they might.
Yeah, but we're
So
gonna have to move,
yeah,
because we don't have any close by us kids. They're
That's
not
true.
gonna move, so we're gonna have to.
but
guess-
we're going to be robust and healthy well into our 90s. So we're not even thinking
Yeah.
along those lines. I go
Sure
to the
you are.
I go to
Sure
the
you are,
gym with
Jay.
Maureen at least 3 days a week. So I'm trying to stay healthy too. I bike quite a bit. I haven't worked in the garden this year because the drought has killed it, and I don't have the water to try and keep it alive. So everything in
bad.
my garden is just gone.
The only thing that grew are sunflowers.
Yeah, sunflowers are apparently quite
The hollyhocks
drought
aren't
resistant.
growing?
No.
The hollyhocks in your
Hollyhocks have dwindled to almost nothing.
Wow.
Anyway, I drive a school bus as a sub, as my retirement job, which works out quite well. I can say no whenever I want, and I can take trips whenever I want. The really cool thing about that is being able to see Utah. Because I drive all over Utah, and I wasn't born and raised here, so
That would be fun.
He
so
goes up north to Roosevelt, he goes down south to St. George, he goes to Price.
so you get to see all these cool
Castle
North to
places.
Roosevelt? Isn't Roosevelt east? I guess it's north.
Yeah. Anyway, we're doing well. That's all.
Okay, Annette, you're on.
It's us, and we're going on a mission, which is supposed to be the reason for this event.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
actually just an excuse to have an event, because we're pretty bad at doing it. We leave September 19th to Boise, Idaho.
Yay.
We will be record preservation specialists. Exactly what that is, we don't know.
You're setting a record in preservation
Well,
specialist.
maybe we're preserving
So you-
ourselves, so we, like Jaye and Marene, will live well and healthy into
To
our
our 90s.
90s. We'll work from 8 to 5 every day in a little square building, which will be up Lynn's alley. It'll actually be a challenge for me to be in an office situation 8 to 5.
You'll be gardening outside the building.
We actually drove by the building when we were up going to see Afton and Nancy, and it's kind of dull. It's, you know, oftentimes the genealogy things are associated with the institutes or the seminaries or a stake center. This is just this facility. It's about what are the dimensions. It does have a basement, it's just a square. And next door is a bakery. And so, I mean, that was obvious, not because we could read, but because we could smell. That's right.
Which I can't.
No, so it'd be fine. So we're expecting I'm expecting a challenge and a learning curve, computer screens mostly all day. It's not a facility where people come in and ask for help. Rather, it's one where we are preserving records, we believe, to go on to
Like
family search.
Scanning records or something like that?
We don't really know. We have one day, maybe
Okay.
2 of training when we're through with our week in the MTC, and they'll let
Okay.
us know more. So,
Well, I've got some friends that are doing record preservation actually in Indiana. They're loving their mission.
and what do they do?
Record preservation.
Is there an echo?
Hey, ask if they, Artie,
What's
ask
that?
them if they ever go to the county courthouse in Fort Wayne.
Okay.
Because I uncovered a whole bunch of records in that courthouse, and last time I heard they were still working on them. I'd be curious to know if they ever got done.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where.
Allen County.
All I remember now is that they're in Indiana. I can't remember where.
Allen County is where Fort Wayne is. Fort
Okay.
Wayne.
I'll try to.
Allen County's library is a.
Cheryl will remember.
We'll see if I can remember that.
Well, it's
To ask them.
Allen County Library is notorious for being a tremendous genealogical library, and
Notorious.
Are you sure that's
okay,
the right
that's probably
word?
the wrong term. Well known, let's put it that way.
Famous.
And then the Allen County Courthouse has had a lot of records in it too.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll try to remember to ask them when I see them in a year. Or whenever they get home.
We think there's some people that are like out in the field, and then there's some that are in the cubbies
Well,
with
you
the
need to be in the
computers.
field.
Yeah, so we're gonna figure out how I can get out in the field a little bit. But anyway, so we have 9 kids, 35 grandkids.
We just had a couple born this year.
Yeah, we've had 3 that have been born within this year, October, May, and 1st of June, so.
Cool.
So, everybody is doing as well as can be expected. You guys have seen on the family site, you know, the struggle that April has with her children. They're still waiting for more information on Zachary, and they think that probably his heart is fine. But in the meantime, he can't do anything. He can't work, he can't ever be alone, he can't. April's son, oldest son, he's 23. He has written a book,
I
so,
wish
you
I
know.
could get to know April better. You know, she was a little tiny girl when you guys.
Yeah.
She was a little tiny girl, yeah.
And she doesn't seem to remember me very well at all.
Well, I think she was 2.
That might
Maybe
have something
3.
to do with it.
She was 2 or 3 when you
So
were
I
there.
don't feel like I have an acquaintance with her anymore.
I would.
Tell me you got a really nice president, Terry.
Okay. She'll probably be here for the quote-unquote farewell, which really none of you need to feel like
So that
you
will
need
be
to
a week
come.
from tomorrow.
I want
Yeah,
to
we
come.
come
That sounds
tomorrow.
so final.
I mean, you know, I know, isn't it? What do you expect? You know, when young missionaries get up there, you think, you know, you expect them to be kind of newbies, but when seniors get up there, I mean, we're supposed to be all knowledgeable and spiritual.
Impressive.
And
You
wonderful.
better be impressive.
Yeah, and impressive. I'll only be impressive if
I'd really like to renew my acquaintance with Cameron too.
well, that
Now,
was,
is she doing pretty good with her kids and everything?
yeah, she has 5 living. April has 5, Cameron has 6. April, Tamara, Cameron, Berkeley has 3.
How old is Berkeley now?
I don't know.
42?
He was born in 1980.
Yeah, so that's 42.
I'm always sorry to hear about the travails that April's been through and
It's
her family. Boy.
quite amazing. I mean, it's just, but what's most amazing is how well she's handled it. And I mean, it's been difficult, but they have, you know, they have really worked through it. And not that they've gone out the other end, but they do amazing missionary things in their area in Colorado. They're great. She's made great friends. She's always serving somebody. Somebody's always serving her. She's got quite a good support system back there,
Good.
and does, you know, I mean, they're just waiting for another shoe to drop all the time. They thought that they didn't have any more shoes to drop. So we're hoping that Zachary that it really is 85%, he's fine. But they've got another test to run. So, anyway. So yeah, Cameron has 6 kids. His oldest is in college. She's going to be, well, they've all taken these advanced courses and graduating with associate degrees, and all the kids do that now.
From high school.
From high school, yeah, and so they're all on, they just seem to be doing well. April, Tamara, Cameron, Berkeley. Berkeley is in the military. Carl finally had a baby.
Oh,
in
really?
October.
I don't know if I knew that.
Well, they jumped through all the medical hoops and more and finally had a baby. They live here in the States and not in Australia.
You saw the dogs?
No.
Yeah, they still have.
Oh, they have the
Oh, they have
dogs.
the dogs.
We don't have the dogs. So Carl Nathaniel is back east, and he does well with his attorney Ian and 2 children.
Summer and Henry.
Summer, who now is Ash.
She can be Ash,
She can be Ash.
but she's
Not my
Summer to
world.
me.
Well, you're not in her world
I'm
much,
not
so it
in
doesn't
her
matter.
You better not let me get near it.
And Christopher has 5, 4 living.
Is he in the reserves too?
He is no
He
longer
was.
in the reserves.
No longer.
And then Sterling has 3, just a new baby in the beginning of June.
And they're gonna be living in your house?
They'll be living upstairs, and we've got the basement rented out to a woman who is a friend of Chad and Cynthia's. And hopefully all works out well.
Cool.
I don't have any crazy stories like Marcielle.
And they all live happily ever after, we hope.
We sure hope so.
Yeah.
We keep praying. So,
Okay. What is the score of the game, Chad?
40-14.
Good thing we're winning.
They let him have 5. One was a return for
Return on kickoff?
98 yards.
Well, I thought the 75-yard one would be the longest one in the game, but I guess there was an even longer one, huh?
Kickoff return.
Well, they started out last year about the same way, but then they petered out.
We really are not gonna record the BYU stats here.
But we are.
No,
We are.
that's not. You guys.
Larita,
What?
come on.
You aren't gonna get into a turn, Marina, just spill it
Hey,
all out
you-
now. Quick, camera's on you. It's your
What?
turn, quick, spill it right
He
now.
hasn't gone yet. And neither
Camera's
has he.
right there.
But he.
Look, look at that. No
Chad,
kidding. That's
seriously,
an
dude,
80-yard
come
run
on.
just now. Okay. All right. No, I wanna do right. Okay. I'm entertaining questions. Maureen, what questions?
Wait, I've got a question for you, Chad.
Okay.
When are you ever gonna acknowledge me as your original babysitter?
I need proof. I need evidence. I hear the claim, but I need, reasons to believe and evidence to support.
Hey, come on.
I suspect that you were, but I think you must have shared that with Camellia and
sorry.
They all
Marcielle.
run around with their boyfriends. They didn't.
How old? They were like 14 when I was.
I was 15.
You were 15. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but you never babysat me, Terry.
Nope, I didn't. Chad was my primary younger brother that I babysat.
I always wondered what happened to him.
I didn't really know that. I honestly didn't, but I can always use that now to explain the traumas that I'm still trying to recover from.
If you need an alibi for your defects.
I used to explain my trauma.
Well, I know when I was born, I do remember this quite well. I really.
But you would never exaggerate.
No, I do remember this. I thought family home evening was the most important thing in the world, and I explained that to you and Mom.
Really?
Do you remember that?
When you were born.
I walked when I was 9 months, so I suppose it was at 10 months. That would be my guess.
Chad, you know what I remember about you? That which sticks in my mind is on Old Columbia Pike.
Old Columbia Pike.
At the chapel. I mean, not Old Columbia Pike, in South Carolina.
Yes.
At the chapel,
Yes.
I can see in the recreation hall, which was behind the chapel part of the building. I can see Dad holding you in his hand and holding you up in the air. And this is when you weren't walking yet.
I know, I was like 3 months.
So you were strong enough that you could stand in his hand, and all these people who were members of the ward were all standing around and looking up at you, at Dad holding you up in the air, and you were just.
Baby Marene.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again.
Say that again. She already wants to record.
Now I want to make sure the camera got it. You were a baby what? Baby Lion King? No.
I do not repeat myself.
Looking at Chad's, the way his legs are suntanned, I would assume he's become a Lamanite now.
Yeah. No, I was in Hawaii and I tried to get ready for the sun before I went.
When we first moved to Columbia, South Carolina. Because.
Oh, 9 months.
Annette is telling me that my memory is
It's faulty.
it's faulty, and of course we all know that. But if you were 9 months, then you could have done that little trick.
What makes you say we moved when you were 9 months? I thought I was 3 years old, and you would have been older than 9 months if I was 3. You had been.
Well, we left Spokane when I was 9 months old, and we lived in 3 different places.
Moved back to Yakima.
We left Spokane, no, we didn't go back to Yakima, we went to Columbia.
Thought I heard people say we'd get back to.
No, we never went from Spokane to
Well, you
Yakima.
might have been under a year.
How many of you remember the
How old was
airplane
I?
catching on fire?
No.
The what?
The airplane catching on fire
What
when we
airplane?
crossed the country.
It didn't catch on fire.
Yeah, it did. Do you remember that they had?
Jay,
they
this
had-
is some of your lines.
I know, yeah, I know. They had a family compartment behind the cockpit in this airplane that our family stayed in, and then behind the family compartment was the rest of the passenger compartment. So this was just for large families to stay together. So that's where we stayed on this airplane. It was a four propeller, 4-prop job flying across the country, and as we were approaching one of the airports,
And this would have been 1950 what?
the engine on the starboard side caught fire. And I'm a little boy, I'm 6 years old, and I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing these flames licking off the engine, and I'm thinking, we're all just gonna die up here. And of course we landed and everything was fine. I don't know, none of you remember that.
No.
Well, that was just before I saw the abominable snowman.
Might be real.
Jay, we never know what's gonna come out of your mouth.
I don't either.
I remember, you know that, was it Colfax Chapel? Did we live?
Next door.
Yeah, next door.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It was about a quarter mile away, but it was next door.
Well, I don't remember everything. I do know that at one of those North Carolina churches, did we go to different churches in North Carolina?
Sometimes a Baptist church, sometimes.
Like so many of us, I got left at church. Because we went in the morning and I missed the car going home in the afternoon, or in the morning. So I had to wait at the church until the family came back for sacrament meeting.
We did that on purpose.
And I was really hungry because I didn't get to go home and eat anything. And so I sat and I just waited for hours and felt a little put upon. And then when you guys pulled up in the parking lot, I walked out and Mom was walking up. And she looked at me and she said, "How'd you get in the church so fast?" Which, I don't know if you can do the arithmetic on that, but it means I was left twice. Once I was left at home because nobody knew that I wasn't in the car to come from home to the church, and when I was left at church. And I couldn't.
We love you, Jack.
And I couldn't go home, and I didn't really know if you guys would all come back because I did suspect that you left me on purpose.
Well,
Jack, do you know where I used to
probably
dream
would go
in
join
Los
a
Altos Hills?
Baptist church.
I used to dream in Los Altos Hills. I did. This was a dream I had in Los Altos Hills all the time. That I would wake up in the morning and the house was empty. Nobody lived there anymore but me. I was all alone, and Mom and Dad had left a note on the table saying, "We're sorry we had to leave you. Here's $100. It'll be fine."
$100. That'll make it.
That is childhood trauma. I thought I had
That was a dream I had multiple times in Los Altos Hills. I did stop after that. I didn't have it anymore after Los Altos Hills. But I will never forget that dream.
I have never
Well-
heard you express that before.
I've never heard
Now that
dream
you have
either.
said it out loud,
Yeah?
I expect you to return to be a normal person.
Okay, I'm trying to
At the
figure out.
Greenwich Hills, I am
Here,
not currently
I can't get the
normal.
camera to turn around, but I have a story to tell on
Okay,
this
here you
line.
go. Hey.
So when we were in Los Altos,
You lived there too?
yes, I lived there with the rest of the family. You might not have seen me, but I was there.
We saw
You
you.
were hard to miss, Arden.
I was gonna say.
Anyway, there was the time that Alden and I went on a camp out, and it was the big camp out that was supposed to be like, I don't know, I think we were supposed to be gone for like 2 weeks,
Like a
but
super adventure.
yeah, the super adventure, high adventure camp out.
Right.
But we got up there, it was early August, and then the Sierras, there was an early snowstorm. Anyway, we came home way early. And when we came home, we found out that Mom and Dad and Larita, everybody was gone. And had gone to Utah to visit who knows who. And there was nobody home.
That's fun.
And it was me and Alden, and anyway.
No.
So where'd you go to?
Cheerios and the refrigerator. And milk and-
Eventually, we went and stayed with some other family in the ward. But there really was nobody home. We
That's
were
pretty
left.
fantastic.
Happened all the time.
That's childhood as it's supposed to be.
I got left behind twice.
This is what
Had to walk
makes
home
us
once.
men and women.
That's what makes us, huh?
Well, I have, to,
I
ask
did-
I have to interject, and this isn't your family, but in my family, here, hold on. I get to talk, even though I'm not a sibling. In my family, we had a whole bunch of people packed in our van going back and forth to Idaho every summer, right? And one time I remember we stopped at a gas station,
Uh-oh.
and then we started towards.
This is probably in Kansas or someplace like that.
And then we went to a rest area, and then on the way home from the rest area, we
Way home?
No, on the way at the rest area, we thought, oh no, Mary Kay's not in the car, and so thought we must have left her at the gas station, and so they started back to the gas station. Then we said, on the way back to the gas station, we thought, oh no, Steve's not in the car. So then we didn't know, is Steve at the rest area or is he at the gas station? And we-
No cell phone.
No cell
Nobody
phone.
communicated with
Well, they were
anybody.
only like 7 and 10
I
or
know,
something,
right?
but so they kept going to the the gas station.
Were they both there?
They were both there, and they both had popsicles. I stayed in the car. I was a good little girl, and they got popsicles. Nobody was supposed to leave the car, so
Hey, I have a
that's
request.
childhood trauma.
I have a final request to make before we disperse.
Okay.
And that is that I would like to change the outcome of the song that I sung earlier tonight.
I didn't know you sang a song.
You are my sunshine, didn't you?
I better turn this off.
Okay, I'll sing the song the way I want it to work out.
You are
But don't.
No,
You're gonna get me off tone, Jay.
Oh, you're getting him off tone.
All right, you really gotta focus on these
I've got
notes.
to do this by myself now. You gotta let me stand on my own 2 feet.
I don't know. You're not ready. to
You're
supply
not
solo.
standing on your own 2
You
feet.
are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Well, you'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please, please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, surprise, you were there. So everybody put a word in for me.
I have to go. It's a
Yeah,
great song.
you better run while you can.
I would much rather that than.
Yeah, they told the nurse or the doctor the other day when I was there that you guys slept just feet apart.
That we what?
Sleep just feet apart. Because her apartment's directly under Karen's. So there's this, it made it sound a little.
Yeah, it sounded a little suspicious.
All right, any other questions?
Let Marina say something.
Chad and
I
Cynthia
don't-
have kids.
I don't have to say my daughters are the most beautiful.
Wait, where'd she go?
Obvious
Over there.
that they are.
That way.
So I don't even need to show a picture.
And what about her husband?
So
You're a good
Marissa and Austin are in Boston. I know it rhymes. I said it on purpose. And they're very happy. And Ellie and Jacob are in Orem, and they're going to school. Marissa and Austin are working. Amen.
Amen. Okay.
Who taught you how to say amen?
I'm married to Cheryl Lynn Chandler Compton, so she's a
I
Chandler.
know
So
that part.
Dad married a Chandler. I married a Chandler. I just figured, that was.
Kathleen married a Chandler.
Yes.
Chandler's all around.
And we live in Brigham City, which is pretty cool. And I didn't know when we moved there. This is something I've just found out in the last couple of years, that I'm right in the middle between two family lines. We have a family line that moved from the Ogden area. Dad was born in Ogden. I knew that, but the family line moved.
What's the name that's there? What's the name in Brigham City that is our family line?
Compton.
There are Comptons in Brigham City. I just wasn't sure it was actually, because there's Childs that are connected to Dad too.
Right, there's
So,
Comptons.
But there's Comptons there.
There's Comptons in Brigham City.
And for 10 years, we were saying, no, we're not related to them. And then
But
we figured it out.
I was just at the city office the other day paying my utility bill, and there's an old photo of Brigham City. I don't know when it was made, 1920 or 1940 or something, and on the bottom it said so and so Compton took the photo, and it was.
Well, there was a Compton photography
So,
that was there.
Well, yeah, the Compton
who's
photo-
it? So is it Dad's, how's it?
I don't remember what it was
Okay,
now, but
just
it's
curious.
like
I'm just curious.
Grandpa Compton's brother, or was it great Grandpa Compton's? Somebody's. It's an uncle line that moved over to Brigham City. But see, so Dad Dad was born in Ogden, and then his family moved up to Weiser, and Mom had family in Millville, and we are right in the middle between Ogden and Millville. We are smack right we're just right between Ogden and Millville. And both those family lines went up, and Mom and Dad met in Weiser. But I didn't know, I just look around sometimes and look at the mountains. My ancestors looked at the same hillsides. They saw the same mountains. I remember when Terry said that He went to, oh, now I forgot. South Carolina, Rock Hill. Rock Hill. Terry talked about how he went to Rock Hill, South Carolina with Dad. And I thought, well, I walked the streets of Rock Hill, South Carolina on my mission. And I saw the chapel in Colfax. I was there.
As a missionary.
As a missionary.
Now, Carolyn's
Isn't that cool?
got a daughter and a son that live in Greensboro.
Oh,
Yeah. I saw them there. Anyway, so what am I supposed to be talking
How
about?
many children do you have?
7. Yes.
How
So
many of them are girls and how many are boys?
we got.
Thanks, Larita.
I just don't remember anymore.
Just tell what's going on in our family. You don't have to say everything.
Okay, so Peter lives in Orem,
Only has one boy.
not too far from Chad.
Yes,
far.
And he's working as a coach and figuring stuff out. And he's an amazing Peter. If you haven't looked at any of his artwork lately,
Yeah.
It's incredible.
the last year, his artwork is just, I mean, it just blows me away. Because about a year or so ago, my daughter Charlotte, who is also an amazing artist, completely different styles, but she writes a cartoon. So if anybody wants to know, she has it's almost weekly. There's a comic. What's that? Well, she writes a comic called Around the House, and it's about
Her
stuff
pen
that
name
happens.
is Shuba Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, her pen name is Shuba
Are you the
Queen.
star?
What?
Are you the star?
Sometimes.
This is a comedy, I take it.
It's a
Well,
comedy.
it is a comedy, but it's funny stuff that happens around the house, so you never know who it's going to be.
Yeah, but you're the
But
most
it's-
funny guy in the house, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
No, he's not alive with a group of people.
I guess.
Anyway, so on one of Charla's comics, which is Around the House, if you look up Around the House, you could probably find
Shuba
it.
Queen.
Shuba Queen, Around the House. She said, okay, I want all of my siblings to write a self-portrait. And she would have this comic strip of self-portraits of everybody. And when Peter drew his self-portrait for her to add to the comic, he decided he didn't like it. And so he started drawing, if I understand right, every week he started drawing a new self-portrait. And that was a little over a year ago or so.
He's amazing.
And now his artwork, I mean, it's so professional. I mean, it's really, 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 really good. He just drew a picture. I wish I could show you, because if I tell you, you'll go, oh, that's nice. But if you see it, it's like, wow. Anyway, okay, so that's Peter. Anne married Knight a couple of years ago. Her husband's name is Knight, and they actually now live 3 doors away from us, which is a very unexpected turn of events, which I could talk to you for a half an hour how that unlikely scenario played out, but now Anne is 3 doors away, and we share irrigation water, and we get to see Anne and her other husband Knight on a fairly regular basis. And Charlotte still lives at home. She's back and forth trying to figure out what to do with her life. And Abigail got married last May 13th. And she lives in Hiram with Cheryl, my wife's mother. And good thing that she and her husband are there to help take care of my mother-in-law, who's got to be close to Terry's age. How old is your mom?
She's 80.
She's 80. Okay.
She's not quite.
No, she's probably 79.
Is she that much younger than your dad? Your dad was 83.
Yeah, she's 4.5 years younger.
Is she 4.5 years younger? Okay, she's 4.5 years. So Cheryl's father just passed away a few weeks ago. He was 83, and so Cheryl's mother is there, and my daughter Abigail is there, and Alice, who is a senior this year, is 17, almost 18 in October, and you guys should come up and see the play. I put a thing on Marco. Just here's another plug for Marco Polo. I put a little plug on Marco Polo.
I have been looking for Chester ever since.
Of Alice's, one of Alice's main scenes of that play is she's looking for her. She's a sheriff that's lost her horse.
You know, I'm
And-
on Marco Polo, but I haven't got any notifications.
Well, just click on it anyway, because there's they're there.
Talk to Ed when it doesn't want to talk to me.
Well, I'll look at Marco Polo in a minute on your phone. And that's Alice. She's an amazing artist. Oh, that's one of Peter's drawings, although that's not the one I'm talking about, but that's a very good one.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
He's a very talented person.
That's a good one. Although he's
Yes, I saw that.
actually better than that now. If you looked at his most recent one, it's
Every
like,
picture is better.
I know, it's like, wow. So Alice is an
Look at that
amazing.
picture. I just got to call attention to that picture.
Oh, gone.
Gone.
Chad, grandma.
Who is it?
It was,
Anyway, so.
There it is, already back up again.
Oh yeah, that's a lovely photo.
That's my mother on the
So-
right and Chad and Cindy on the left.
She was Cindy then.
That's one of the nicest photos.
So, Alice is a delight, and then below her is Corey, who is just turned 15, and she is a lovely delight and a very cute girl. And then Amber is 12, and she's also in the play. Everybody's in the play. You guys got to come up and see the melodrama, because they're all in it, and they all do an amazing
Artie's
job.
in it.
And I'm
He
in
gets
it.
to be a villain and a banker.
Yes, but
What's the difference?
it's not it's not a villainous banker. I'm a villain and then I'm a banker. But anyway, and life is good, and we are blessed beyond measure. And there you go.
There you go. Thanks, Artie.
Okay, so there's Larita. Well, you know what? You know how you could tell if somebody's remarkable, Chad?
Just you look at the reader and then you
No,
look at them. And
you take a marker and you draw on them, and then you make a second line and see if you can make 2 marks.
That
And if
makes
you can
them
make 2 marks, they're remarkable.
Treasure point.
Oh my gosh.
Hey Artie, did you just make that up? Did you hear that on Saturday Night Live?
No, I did make it up, but I made it up several years ago.
Wow, and you remember it.
In fact, it's an old joke.
Okay, I'll be super quick. No, I am Larita, the last of the 12. I have 4 children. I've been married 36 years. Is that right?
I don't
How
know.
can that be?
You got married before I did. I've been married. This was our 30th.
66 years.
For Cheryl and I,
So that makes sense.
it's
Okay,
it's
all right.
it's my 30th wedding anniversary, but you beat me to the punch by quite a few years. Everybody did.
Yeah, because Robert was when we lived with you guys next door to you guys. Yeah, that sounds right. Anyway, 4 children. Robert is a businessman. He has his own company. It's a medical device. Then Jessica's a nurse. Robert has 3 children. Jessica has 3. She just had her 3rd. She was a nurse down in Vegas. Then Kevin, he has 3. He just had his 3rd.
In a car.
In a car. I got the lowdown on that, but I don't really want to tell it on camera. This is recorded, but I did get the lowdown on how that was crazy stuff.
We almost had a baby in the car.
Well, he did. He caught it. Literally.
He was in the driver's
While
seat.
he was driving.
He was in the driver's seat.
Okay, turn the camera on. It's like this. It was literally like this. This is how he caught that baby. She was in the back seat. And this is how she was in the, he caught it like this. There you go. There.
Wow.
No, that picture does not.
Yeah, is it more like this?
Back and
Well,
there was the baby.
So was the baby standing on his hand?
Wow, we really are doing this.
That image doesn't work for a lot of
I
people,
know.
but for Kevin, it works fine. Cheesy kind.
Kevin is a research guy for the White House. He works for the Department of Science and Technology. So, yeah, he's hanging out at the White House a lot. Oh, he sent me a picture. Anyway, never mind. Then let's see. Alicia is my youngest. She's down in Vegas also. She's expecting her 3rd. So we're doing everything in 3s.
Wow.
It's another boy. So we did all the girls. Then we had anyway, so this will be number 12. So my number is coming.
Oh.
Number 12 is coming in February. February 14th is her due date. She's busy. She has a nonprofit for babies that are born with heart defects. So she's at the hospital all the time and taking care of families that have that going on.
What do you and Bryce do?
And Bryce and I, we fly all over the place to see our children because none of them stayed very close by. So Bryce and Bryce is at the hospital still, and I got a certificate as a health and nutrition coach. So that's what
So
I
you
do.
don't work at the hospital anymore?
I don't. I just
Oh.
do health and nutrition coaching.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Good.
So anyway, that's it. There you go.
Bravo.